Okay. So today we're going to talk about building the business that you've purchased. And our topic first is going to be the dream, right? What is the dream, being an owner?
Well, the dream is many different things. I mean, everyone that buys a business because they want to become successful, and that's the way that they want to do it is by owning a business. That's not everything you have to look at, though.
Yeah, exactly. Typically, when somebody comes to me looking to buy a business, they want to replace their income. They want a new job. They don't want to work for the stupid boss that they're working for now. So they buy a business to be their own boss. Unfortunately, they become the stupid boss. And this is something that you should consider. If you're trying to replace an income, let's say that you make $70,000 a year, and you buy a business that will produce for you $70,000 in income. Unfortunately, you're not thinking about your retirement plan and your benefits package. Maybe you get a truck allowance, maybe you get a phone. Now, all of those things that were part of the compensation package that you previously had, they're your responsibility now. So you have to make more money than you were making as somebody else's employee to compensate yourself for the benefits that you've given up. And oh, by the way, to buy that business or to start your business, you've also invested quite a bit of capital to have that job. Much easier to have a job and have good benefits than it is to acquire business. So you need to have the dream that you are trying to realize has to be greater than the job that you're leaving. One of the things that we recommend to our clients is you need to get at $1 million in sales in your business as quickly as possible. So that, let's say that you have a 10% profit margin on your sales, that's $100,000 to you in that scenario of a 10% profit margin. You got to get to that $1 million in sales so your business can be sustainable, so that you can pay yourself enough money, have the benefits that you need to provide for your family, and have a retirement when you're done operating the business.
I think it's important too that you enjoy what you're doing. If you're getting into a business just because you want to be the boss and you don't want to, have to work for somebody and not like them, you want to consider getting into a business that you enjoy. So now you're working in a business that you enjoy, and you can plan ahead. Okay, if I'm going to retire in 5-10 years, what do I want that to look? What do I want it to look at by? So you can talk to us, and we can help you plan ahead, so that you can have a time frame. Where do I want to go? How much do I want to make? And like Russ said, you've got to make at least $1 million a year to cover your expenses, your medical, all of these benefits that you might have in another job. So I think it's very important.
The reason you bought your business right now probably isn't as important as what you're going to do from here on out. What is your business going to look like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? What is it you want to accomplish? So often we speak to different sellers or different business owners, and they say, yeah, when I retire, I'm just going to go ahead and sell the assets and close the door. They hadn't thought out their future or their retirement. Businesses, if they're done right, have a value. They have something to sell. And that's where you want to be. You want to be at a point in the future that your business will help sustain your retirement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to do that, typically, you can't be the sole earner in your business. For you to have a business that somebody else would want to buy, oftentimes our buyers look at businesses and they say, how important is the seller in the operation of the business? If the seller is the business, for example, a dentist, if the seller is a dentist and she is the only dentist in the practice, and that dentist, she leaves the business, what if the people don't like you as the new dentist? That business loses all of the revenue from that dentist, or a portion of the revenue from that dentist. So truly the business owner needs to be separate from day-to-day operation of the business. That way the business has independent and specific value that somebody else could come in and buy. When I say that, it doesn't mean that that the business has no value if you leave and you're the sole developer of business. They all have some value. It's just finding the value. Usually the value of a business is based on the profits that the owner produces, not the assets of the business, but what the business earns. So you need to develop a business that earns money, and if you can do it, earns money without you sitting in the driver's seat.
Okay, Russ, I got to ask you a question. If, with your last statement, what kind of a business model do you create? Had to make you think,
Yeah,
right?
I just
Right.
needed to get the approach. Let's say, so for many years, maybe Carol could hold up the book. Many years, my brother and I, here in town, we're business consultants, and we produced this book to help business owners. It has a lot of policies and procedures in the business. And to go along with the business, we suggested that the business owner increase their revenue, their sales, by 5 times, especially if they'd already hit $1 million. You got to increase your sales by 5 times. Now let's say that you personally can sell in a year $1 million worth of whatever it is you're selling. So you're the $1 million maker. If you want a business that's worth 5 times or has 5 million in sales, then you're going to need 4 other salespersons. So your model is starting to take shape. If one person, a really good salesperson, can produce $1 million, you might need 4 or 5 other salespeople to get you to the model of where you want your business to be. Now, if I've got 5, 6 people selling now, $1 million apiece, I've got to have people producing the product or service that they're selling. And the people that are producing for me as a sole practitioner, they're not sufficient. I need to deliver all of the sales that the salespeople are making, so I need a structure sufficient to deliver these sales. You're asking me about a model. I am creating a model that will produce 5 times what you're currently making. I got my salespeople, I got my manufacturing, I got to deliver everything that I'm producing. So you need to have maybe vendors that work in transportation and logistics. So that is part of my model. Now I have to account for everything that we've produced and sold. I have to maintain records and produce a financial statement and submit a tax return every year, and that requires administrative staff to support the model that I have created in my business. Did that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and some of the things that we see as business brokers when we go out and try to sell a business is quite often we recognize that accounting can be very, what's the proper terminology?
Creative.
Creative. I like
Creative
That's
accounting.
a good one, creative accounting. Which, if you look at it, you know, if you're doing some creative accounting and you're saving some tax dollars, you're being paid for what you're doing right now. That same philosophy can be your enemy when you're ready to sell. When you have to show the new buyer what your business makes, I don't think the SBA or the bank or anybody else is going to take your word for that you've been making an extra $100,000 a year with cash sales that were not reported. If that's what your goal is to have money now, that's fine. But understand that that will hurt you in the future. Be aware of that, and be aware that those things cannot be reported and they cannot be lent on. So you have to make sure that you work with your accountant, work with the professional people that you have around you, and do it right.
Yeah, what we do, we work off financial statements and tax returns. If I can't prove, or if we can't prove to a potential buyer how much money you're making today, then we can't get you the money that your business is worth. We can't do it. If you're pocketing all of the cash, as Verlin says, it's going to hurt you. It's come time to sell your business, but it's also going to hurt you right now. Because when you, let's say you're making a lot of money, you're pocketing a lot of cash, and you need a new facility. You want to rent a new space because you're doing so well, you're making lots of money. They're not a landlord in town that's going to give you the nicest space in town for your business because you don't show a profit. They don't want you in their space when you're not making money. And let's say that you're growing, you're doing fantastic in Bakersfield, you want to grow your business, like I said, by 5 times. And you're going to need capital to grow your business in another community. There's not a bank in the world who will loan you money if you're pocketing all of the cash. They need to see all of the money that you're making to give you a loan or give you a real estate, or let's say you're trying to develop partners and have strategic alliances with other people around you. Maybe you want to go public. If you're pocketing cash and hiding that income in whatever way, there's no investor, there's no lender, there's no landlord that's going to want to work with you because they can't see the money that you're making. It hurts you all along the way if you're trying to hide money from the IRS, then you're hiding it from everybody else who could potentially provide you capital that you need to grow.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question then. In that regards of like this pocketing cash and showing revenue, when you're going to sell the business, at what point? So we talked earlier about a 3 years worth tax return. So
Yeah.
say you're in a business for 10 years, but you have been pocketing cash, but now you're making an exit plan. You know you want to leave. So now is the time to stop that and start actually recording the true income of the business.
Well, when we value a business, the last 12 months is the most important. We put more weight on the last 12 months than any other time. But we're going to go back 3 years. So we're going to wait the last 12 months first, and the second 12 months are going to be weighted not quite as heavy, and then 12 months after that even less than that. So it depends on how quick you want to sell your business. I'd start it now, but at least 3 years in advance. If you're going to sell before that, at least 12 months in advance would be best. I don't know.
Well,
Rule of thumb.
Mhm.
If you look in the mirror and you look like me or you have a hairdo like me, start showing the money that you're making. 'Cause in 3 years from now,
Time is of the
That's
essence.
right.
Yeah.
You're coming to the end, buddy. You better start showing a profit right now because we need 3 years of profitable business operations so
To
that we
really
can
make it work.
sell your business to. We can sell your business. I don't care what kind of business you have. We've sold some of the doggest, ugliest businesses ever. And we've sold them, but we just don't get any money for them. If you want money for your business, you got to show that it makes money.
and you have to plan ahead. And I think that's what you were saying. Somebody who knows they're going to be retiring or they're going to want to sell their business to start another one, which is possible, and happens quite a bit. You know, what are you gonna do in the next 5 to 10 years or whatever your plan is? If you have someone that you're already talking to and you're making plans ahead, like maybe one of us, what should I do? What should I do if I want to get out of this business in the next 5 years? What should I be doing and how should I prepare for that? Well, just like Russ was talking about, you need to make a certain amount a year. You basically, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to everybody. But, you know, what is happening a lot, there's no plan and then somebody wants to retire and then it's, you know, oh, you should have been reporting the cash. Well, I didn't know that. Okay, so do you want to sell now and lose? Or do you want another couple years, have to work those extra couple years that you're not really wanting to work? But we can help you even now. Or we're just going to have to sell it at what it's worth on paper, because that's when we usually want to take a listing, is when we know that this is making money. If it's not making money, we're going to have trouble selling it. So you definitely want to plan ahead, or you're at the tail end of your life maybe, and you're just going to have to sell it for what it is at that point. So yes, we can sell almost anything.
Yeah.
You're right. But
What price?
what
What
price?
price? And it's very difficult for us to try to sell a business if you're not willing to give us your tax information.
Yeah. We'll probably
Yeah.
suggest that you put it on Craigslist if you
Mhm.
can't give us
Yeah.
tax. We'll probably offer you a suggestion of how it can be sold, but if you'd like a professional representing your business to get the highest value that you can, then we're going to need to see numbers. Here's something that that occurred to me about 2 years ago. I had a buyer. He came to me and he worked for a corporation all his life. He was finally going to venture out and be an entrepreneur, and he included his family in his business. He purchased a beautiful business that made plenty of money, and he was in business for about 1.5 years, and he died. And it was just the most pitiful circumstances. Now, fortunately, he had a life insurance policy, and it paid the seller the balance of money that he owed to the seller. But his wife and his son were not prepared to operate the business. And so they not only lost their father and husband, they lost their jobs, and they lost the money that they had invested in that business. So one of the things that I have in the book, in Best Practices of High Performance Entrepreneurs, is also a method of protecting your business whether or not you are there. To have adequate insurance, to have a management structure or resources, maybe strategic alliance that could continue the operation of your business to provide for your family should something happen to you. And I'll tell you, something worse than dying is being incapacitated and having to watch your family struggle and fail when you're alive but can't do the work. So there's another aspect to what we offer in our consultation that doesn't have anything to do with you making money in selling your business, or us making money selling your business. You as an entrepreneur also need to be aware of circumstances that you cannot control, and we'll try to help you with that as well.
You know, something that we did kind of gloss over but didn't really talk about a lot is your business model. You may be just starting your business. You may be trying to plan for the future. You want to make sure that you're planning for your exit strategy, but in a business model, there's lots of things you have to keep in mind. And a lot of times we get into a business because it's a dream. But if we don't take care of business and pay attention to what's going on around us, that dream is going to disappear. What's the market doing?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the market going to be in 5 years? What are the trends? What's the younger generation going to be accepting as a good, viable business? What does the younger generation want to do when they work for somebody? There's a lot of different things, and I'm just throwing out a few that are coming to mind.
It's making sense, and a lot of what I'm hearing, I'll look at the book, I'll look at the timeline, or just everything. If you want to be successful, for one, make that $1 million and increase that above average return on investment. You have to consider that.
Mm-hmm.
High productivity, and what you're saying, survivability and sustainability, innovation, less stress, more fun,
Mm-hmm.
if you do it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you're not aware of what's going on out there, businesses will fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk. You can mitigate that risk if you pay attention. And if you take that time to know what's going on in your industry. How is the industry changing? What's it going to look like in 5 years? What kind of equipment are you going to have to make sure that you're able to handle that?
What does your equipment look like?
What does your equipment look like?
Let's put some realities from
Right.
our experience to what we're trying to say. As we were discussing prior to turning on Facebook Live, we had a client about 7 years ago, and they purchased a franchise yogurt shop. Yogurt was hot. Well, it was frozen, but it was hot. And so the frozen yogurt was really popular. Everybody wanted it, and we sold the business for a good amount of money. Well, now trends have changed. Yogurt is still tasty, but it's not as hot as it used to be. Going to be a little bit more difficult to sell the business now than it was 7 years ago. And so what Verlin is saying is, what is your model? How are you going to change and adapt to the marketplace so that yes, you can sell your business at a high value when you need to sell it. And you need to be aware of the changes in the marketplace and study those out so that we can sell your business for the highest value. That's why we're here today, is help you create a business that we can sell for the highest value.
And even as simple as with regards to a yogurt shop, I had an owner say, well, we want to make more money before we actually sell. What can we do? And I said, you might want to add another product. So they were thinking maybe cookies. I don't know if they decided to do that or not, but innovative. They have to think, what can I do now to get people to still come to my yogurt shop when 31 Flavors is down the street? So what am I going to do?
Right now, I'm working with a company that they have a salon for parties, and that's their business. I happen to represent a Mexican restaurant for sale, and they came to me and they said, we're interested in this Mexican restaurant to provide the food for our party salon. So they are looking at the future of their business and making strategic alliances or purchases that will enhance the value of their business without added work for them. So they're going to buy a business, and they will get all of the personnel and all of the processes and all of the recipes, everything necessary to expand their business in a single purchase. And they could effectively double their income by making that a strategic alliance or that connection. Again, what is your model? How is it going to look in the future?
Right.
How do you get to that 5 million more or that million more that you're trying to achieve in the shortest time possible?
One of the, situations that Carol and I found ourselves in a little while ago. Carol had a guy that wanted to sell a gas station, and I'd spent quite a bit of time in gas station businesses. So we went out to this guy and his wife and talked about the gas station, and he wanted to sell it for a certain amount of money. Well, he wasn't making enough money to get the income or get what he wanted out of the business. But the way his store was set up, he was losing probably $10,000 to $15,000 a month on sales because he wasn't marketing his inventory properly. We made the suggestion of what he needed to do. He made the changes. Now he's making such good money, he's not ready to sell.
But we did the right thing.
Doggone it.
He did the right thing.
So
So he
that's
did
it.
the right thing, and eventually he'll sell, and he'll get more money out
And
of it.
he'll come
get
to
what he wants.
us because
Yeah.
we gave him good advice, and
Mhm.
he's making so much
A
more
lot of
now than
money.
he was.
And there's another reason why you might want to talk to a business broker now as opposed to 5 years from now, because you know how to run your business. You know how to make whatever it is you're making. You know how to work with your vendors and your customers. You know your business. But we're going to come in with a fresh set of eyes, and we're going to look at your business as, what is the business worth? What is its value? And we're going to look at dogs, say loss leaders that don't make money for you anymore. And we're going to ask these questions. Well, why is this aspect of your business losing money? Is there something we could do to enhance that value or replace that with another moneymaker so that your business increases in value? We want to help you sell your business for the highest value possible. And if we can do that, I've been consulting with small businesses for over 30 years. I know that Verlin has a similar amount of experience. Carol's too young for that, so we won't. She's just too young for that. But we've been around a while and have helped many people, I think.
Well, even if your business is already making a lot of money, I will go up to you and say, would you like me to evaluate your business as it is right now? Well, I'm not thinking of selling. That's okay. Let's find out what it's worth right now, because if you want to make more 2 years from now, 5 years, 10 years, we can start planning for that. And then when you're ready to sell, you'll be happy that you did that 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So there's nothing wrong with starting now, even if you're already doing well.
We can help you with the industry standards. We can help you see what works and what doesn't work. There's innovations and ideas out there that we might be able to bring to light to make your business more profitable.
Because we work with all kinds of businesses.
All right, so we're going to tie it up here in just a minute. So what is the next step? So we've purchased a business, now we've built the business, we've set some policies and procedures into place for growth. We've met our $1 million sales goal, so we're making the money that we need to make. Now we want to prepare our exit strategy. So, and that'll be like our next Facebook Live is going to be focusing on what that exit strategy looks like. So you can give the audience like some ideas about what the exit strategy is. Like, what is that?
And that'll be a month from now?
Now it'll be a month from now, right?
we
Second Tuesday of the
come back.
month.
Mhm.
That happens all the time.
Mhm.
What do I do now? I
Yep.
want to sell.
Yep.
They come to us and we start working on a plan.
And the sad thing is when they come too late.
Mhm.
Not that I want to sell, I have to sell.
Mhm.
I have, my health is bad, or well, we're moving out of the state, or whatever. They haven't thought ahead enough to capitalize on the asset that they've developed over the last 20 years. So there is required, it is required that you look into the future at least 5 years
Mhm.
and start making a plan.
If you are the most essential part of your business, then your business will fail if you have to close the doors for health reasons or whatever it may be.
Right.
Or you
And I
want to
have
retire.
someone like that right now.
So
And,
make
uh,
sure
yeah.
that you are not the most essential part of your business, that you have created a plan around that, that you have other personnel that you have trained, that you have, you know, systems in place that can replace you.
Good point.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. We'll see you in a month from now for our next Facebook Live. And this is me saying goodbye.
See you in December.
Bye.
Good job. You're a good moderator. You're good. You're a good center man.